Hello everybody, it's Flesson19 and welcome back to another guide. And in this episode, this is going to be my top 10 things to do early game to help you move along, get through the game, and possibly keep you going through late game. These will not be in a certain order as 1 through 10. However, what I have done is made these to go in chronological order as to the point of where you begin your character to where you would finish off your character, so you don't have to bounce all over the place. Number 1, character creation. With the new leveling system put in patch 1.4.3, it has changed the way in which you level. You do not level with skill points anymore, you level with raw EXP. And this has made a huge difference into the way that you can level your character. Now you want to make sure that you are maximizing where you put your points, because you want to be able to actually spend those points so that way you get higher into the game. You don't want to put a whole bunch of points into little things. You want to kind of make sure that you're putting them into areas that you're going to use, because that's going to allow you to level faster. And to further explain this, I have actually made a video in which I go in depth to explain to you how to create your character correctly, because it starts right here, and doing this correctly will keep your character from bogging down into the 20s and will allow you to somewhat move freely into the 30s. So creating your character correctly can make a huge difference. Number 2, sell your early game weapon. Now, if you're an archer, you always want to do this. If you're a melee, it all depends on what weapon you start with and what is available for you to buy. Because you might be able to earn yourself a couple hundred, if not maybe 500 gold, just by exchanging for a little bit lower of a weapon. With this character, I started out, and as you could see, this is 232. Now, I always sell this and buy the blacksmith hammer. And there's 2 different types. They only have one here. You want the one that has 45 links on it. So by doing that, I made an extra 150 gold. Depending on the weapon you can start with, you can make upwards of over 1,000. And early game, that is very, very important, because you're going to need to buy things early on, like horses. So it is very important to go ahead and do. And yeah, you're not going to do a lot of damage, but you don't have to do a lot of damage to gain skill. Just hit them. So selling that weapon is going to make you that extra gold in the beginning part of the game, depending on what weapon you start with. As you can see, I sold this off and I got a free horse for it, and it's a lot better than this little crummy Sumter horse, which is going to help me out big time. Number 3 is, if you're an archer, buy tournament arrows. Cannot stress this enough. I'm going to go off and sell this 1 arrow. I'm going to buy 2 tournament arrows. It's only going to cost me 450, which I still have a lot left over. And why do you want to do this? Because tournament arrows are blunt damage. Therefore, even with a headshot, they're knocked unconscious. And why is that important? Because you always get prisoners. Always. And there is a little thing where we're going to move down a little list to show exactly why that's important. When you get prisoners, you sell off the prisoners, even looters, for money. Now, looters are only 5, But we don't care about that early game. When you sell off the prisoners, you get roguery. When you get roguery, you get additional battle loot. So what we're going to do is we're going to buy tournament arrows. We're going to get prisoners. We're going to sell off the prisoners. We're going to put it into roguery. And we're going to get more loot. So by simply buying tournament arrows, that is going to have a chain effect on causing us to get more loot, which means more money. Number 4. At the beginning of the game, go to Zeonica to buy food. I see a lot of people where they'll go to Poros or they'll go to villages and buy some grain. No, you don't want to do that. Go to Poros or to Zeonica, click on this button to show trade goods, and you'll see what they have for sale. And the reason why we're doing this is because we want to immediately start gaining Steward. And how do you, the easiest way to gain Steward? Buy 4 different types of food variety. And now watch what this is going to cost us. All you do is want 2 of each of the first 4. So I'll buy 1 grain, that gives me 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There. And then I'll check these so they don't get taken. I paid 112 gold. With 4 troops, I now have enough for 16 days of food. And I paid 112 gold. And now because I have 4 different types of food, I will now start gaining Steward. If you want to be safe, buy 3 extra. Just so you have 3 of each. And now that will go ahead and it will bump you up to, 52 days of food or whatever. So now you have a bunch of food already bought, or maybe buy extra of the next one. So you have 5 different types. So you can go ahead and do this, and that way it's cheaper to do than just paying 20 to 25 for grain at a village. I only paid 173, and as you can see how many days of food I have, I'm paying 173, and now I will immediately start gaining Steward, which is going to cause you to start leveling. So a great thing to remember to do early game, since you're on your way, you start here, head over to Poros to check out some goods. Zeonica's sitting right here, and they have a lot cheaper prices than Poros. Believe me, you could pay twice that amount or more in Poros compared to Zeonica. Number 5, do tournaments. Now, a lot of people think early game, I got no chance of winning a tournament. And they're right. You have virtually no chance of winning a tournament, especially if a Lord is in there. However, if you are able to win, then you stand a good chance that the item you're going to get is going to be between 500 to over 1,000. However, the main reason to do tournaments early game is not to win them. It's to stay in as long as possible and learn skills. Because as you know, you get raw EXP to gain skills. And as of, I believe it is patch 1.4.3, you now also gain experience by killing them. So you're gaining a bunch of experience into helping your skills by doing that. Athletics, if you're on the ground, they use different types of weapons. Bow, you can learn anything in there. So do tournaments early game just to start gaining skill so you can fly up those levels a little quicker, start investing into other ones, and move even faster. Number 6, do train the troops. This is one of the biggest ones you can do. I have a video up on YouTube that I showed how to do this and how much you exactly make. I do it multiple times to show how amazing this is. And a lot of people don't realize this. In the old system, you had to do this and you had to train 10 guys up to make 1,000 gold. It isn't like that anymore. At the beginning of the game, you only need to train 5 guys and your reward 2,400. That is absolutely amazing in early game. It is outstanding. And believe me, all those 5 guys don't have to survive. You can lose guys and still complete the quest completely full price. So at all costs, when you see a train the troops, do it. Now, as of 1.4.3, right now, train the troops will require a troop slot. So you have to have them available. If you already have 21 to 25 troops and you try to do it, he says you don't have room. That is a bug and not intended. That is supposed to be patched. I don't know when, but as of 1.4.3, you have to have the available spots. Now, as the game goes on, the required number of troops to train and the reward will increase. At one point, I was up to 15 troops, making almost 4,000. So early game, do a train the troops. Number 7, upgrade your troops to tier 2 as soon as possible. Early in the game, you get recruits, and to most lines this will happen. Recruits are pretty squishy. However, when you upgrade to tier 2, practically everybody gets a shield. And that little bit of a difference from tier 1 to tier 2 has a massive difference on how you're going to level. A huge difference. You send in 20 tier 1s to go fight a band of 20 looters, it could be a close battle, unrealistic. However, you send in 20 tier 2 infantrymen to fight them, you might only lose 3 or 4 guys because they have those shields. And the cost is not that much. It costs 1 to maintain them. It only costs 3 to maintain them. So a group of 20 will cost you 20 here. It'll cost you 60 here. But the value that you're going to get out of that is going to be great. And early game, don't upgrade them to tier 3. Let them sit at tier 2. There's no need to upgrade them. Especially the Imperial line, because they get thrown weapons and they'll throw their weapons instead of staying in their shield wall, and it can cause a major problem, trust me. So early game, if you're going that route, get them upgraded to get that shield. It will make a huge difference on survivability. And then when you lose a couple infantrymen, yeah, just have a couple more recruits ready to go. But don't start upgrading them too far, because then you're going to start running into money problems. So upgrade to tier 2 as soon as you can. Don't go past it. And that way you'll be able to survive better and still maintain a very low cost in wages. Number 8, doing extortion by deserters. Now, playing on realistic, you're going to need a decent amount of troops. As you go down in the realism category on damage, you're going to be able to do this easier and easier. If you're playing on the easiest difficulty, 40 tier 1s could probably do this. As you go on, in the late games, their party size that are going to come attack you will get bigger. And the reason why this is such a big deal, and it's a little bit of explaining, is that these are deserters that are extorting these guys, and they want you to take care of it for them. So what you do is you say, okay, I'll take care of them for you. Now you have two routes to go here. If you wait, you'll see them pop up, and there they are. Now, you can either sit in town and wait for them, and they'll come to you, and you can fight them, but the villagers will help you. So early game, it helps out. Or you can go directly after them. If you choose that route, you do not want to let them get too close, because if they touch the town and you're not sitting in the town waiting, you will fail. So you want to do it when they're further out. However, when they detect you, they will run. So if you're not moving fast enough, and I recommend at least a 5.8 speed, upwards of 6 if you're doing Kuzite or Assyri troops, then you're going to want to stay in town. But chasing after them has the advantage that the villagers, any of them that they kill, they take the loot and the prisoners. So you have a double-edged sword that you have to think about that you're going to want to go ahead and do. This is basically like fighting a mini battle as a vassal. You're literally fighting troops of that faction because they're deserted troops. And the great thing about that is they can be tier 5 troops as well. I don't remember if I can't remember if they're tier 6s involved. But I will now sit here, and also the troops that are going to attack you are going to be the faction that controls this village. If the Kuzites come and take over this Empire village by taking this, one of these two castles controls it. If the Kuzites take it over, these troops will be Kuzite troops, not Imperial troops. So remember that when you're doing that. This is going to also be a good way to get Fions if you go to Battanians. So we're going to sit here and wait, and here they come. You can go ahead and fight this. I'm just going to send the troops in to get these done for now. As you can see, look at them. Here are the troops. We got an Equite. This is a great way to get archers. An incredible way, or cavalry. An amazing way to get cavalry. Look at, we got a cataphract, a heavy horseman. You can also get legionnaires. So now this is done. Look at all the prisoners. Equites, you can see these are tier 5. You can't recruit tier 5 as a 1.4.3. You can get Equites. Leave them sitting your prisoner, and then they'll want to join you. Or sell them off. That could be anywhere from 200 to 400 worth of prisoners sitting there. Once you're done with that, we go to the loot. Let us do by value. This is a decent one, as you can see. 4, 1,000, 11, 12. I mean, you get anywhere between 800 and upwards of 10,000 in loot. And I'll give one quick little simple hint. Watch for this. Cracked simple short bow as a 1.4.3. It only sells to the vendor, as you can see, for 385. It is the exact same stats as a simple short bow that costs over 5,000 in the towns to buy, and it has the same stats. Another good thing about doing this is you will always get a sumpter horse. And what are sumpter horses good for? Carrying goods. So if you do enough extortion by deserters, as you can see, I got 4 sumpter horses. That means later I don't have to buy 4 mules, which is going to save you anywhere from, or sumpter horses. These are worth at minimum 60, worth over 100. So this is 250 to 1,000 alone. Take all the loot. Now, when you are done, talk to the man again. And then here's where it gets interesting. Because you can either take the money he's giving and gain a little bit of relation and a little bit of charm. Take half the money, gain a decent amount of relation and a decent amount of charm, or let him keep his money, in which you will gain a lot of relation and a lot of charm. So you have to choose exactly what you're going to go ahead and do. I'm going to tell him to keep it. I gained 10 relation, and it didn't say that I gained any here because of my level, but I gained quite a bit of charm. Number 9, buy a workshop as soon as possible. Now, as of making of this video 1.4.3, things are a little buggy with workshops right now. There's still early access, so they don't have things hammered out, and things can change. But you literally can be losing 200 gold a day by not buying a workshop. Now, the workshop I'm going to suggest is going to only cost you 13,000 at 200 a day. That is 65 days. It will pay for itself, and you will be then making a profit of 200 gold at least every day. So early game, as soon as you can get the money doing it. Now, as of the making of this video, the workshops that I do are going to be Wool Weaveries in Foltehand, Otengard, Akalat, and Odak. And the reason why is because they have so many sheep farms. Every town has sheep farms. Now, of course, some are tied to castles, so you do have to remember that. There's sheep there, there's sheep, they're all over the place in Kuzite territory. And that is why they are so big for the Kuzites. Now, of course, this is also going to depend on whether or not you're going to become a vassal right away, which you want to then think about whether or not you want to do that, because you might have to sell it right away. And as a 1.4.3, there is a little bit being buggy with them because of nobles not having enough money to buy them back. Hopefully that will be fixed soon. But as you can see what mine are making, they're a little down right now. But still, that is a lot higher than you see most people getting. Like I said, that's a little bit down. And there are ways that you can actually increase this. If you take a little bit of time and go ahead and buy their goods and give them better raw materials at a cheaper price, you can actually cause these to go up. That is not a bad number. Early game, it's more than this. As you go in later into the games, the economy is a little whacked at this point, so it can go down. You know, obviously, if you make a workshop and it's only pulling you 50 gold a day, well, obviously that's not good. So you want to ask around as to what are the good shops to go ahead and make. Just post it on the forums. Go into the general discussions tab and just say at this point, what shops are making good money under whatever patch you're playing. It matters if you're paying the beta branch or an older version. So make sure you specify that, and people will let you know what's good at that point, so you know what shops make good money. And number 10, last but certainly not least, if you're not going to start as a vassal right away, make a caravan. As a 1.4.3, and the hot fix that we got Mexico to put into the game, caravans are absolutely amazing. And I cannot stress it enough. Number 10, and last but certainly not least, If you're not going to become a vassal right away, make a caravan. I cannot stress this enough. As of 1.4.3 and the hotfix that we got Mexico to put into the game, caravans are a money-making machine right now. I will show you. I am pulling, as you can see, about 270, 370, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 750 from my workshops. As you can see, I have nearly that in wages, and I have 7 caravans running. Is it 7 at this point? 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay. So my workshops basically cancel out my wages. Watch and see what my 7 caravans are pulling in a day. Watch right down here. And this, well, I'll tell you whether or not this is actually a good number. Come on. $5,700 for 7 caravans. Profit. That's not, you know, they've already paid their wages and everything. They've already done that. That is a semi-low number for me right now, for this character. So I've seen as high as 8,000 in one day. And trust me when I tell you, I am nowhere near the max of what you can do. There's 5,300. I am normally making between 6,000 to 7,000 a day on 7 caravans. You do the math, that's almost 1,000 caravan a day. And if I wanted to actually max this out, I guarantee you right now I could probably be making over 10,000 a day on caravans. And to show you proof of this, I actually have a video up on YouTube before the hotfix, in which I give you the numbers on how to actually create a caravan correctly. Believe me, throwing a caravan out into the open is not the way to do it. If you are going to run caravan, I highly recommend you check that video out. I will leave a description at the end of this video and a link down in the description on doing caravans. Spending a little bit of time watching that video will literally double to possibly triple your profit. No joke. Check that video out. So I highly recommend that you watch that to maximize your profits. I currently do not have that maximum setup running right now. And I bet you if I do that, I could make 10,000 a day on 7 caravans. So if you're not going to become a vassal right away, then you want to go ahead and you want to do this. Because as I showed you with this army I have, a little small army, I got 152 men. Although, actually, what are my wages right now? Oh, 1,100. Excuse me. I'm actually up on wages. So, I am making 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm actually making 350 less. Because I'm paying 350 more in wages. So, I'm actually making 350 more than what that's showing because I'm not covering my wages with my workshop. So that's showing almost 6,000 that I'm technically making in profit off of this. Now this is just how much you're expected to make at this moment. This is not how much you will make. This is what's showing this second how much you're making. As the day goes on, these numbers will change to reflect that. So as you can see, some of these guys are making right now over 1,000 right now. These are my top 10 things in somewhat of a chronological order, and to help you get through the early to mid and work through the late game to make your game a little bit easier. And if you found any of these helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe to help the channel grow. It's the easiest way that you can show support for me making these videos. And let me know, what do you want to see next? I'll take requests from everybody. I love hearing from you. I have YouTube comments tied into my phone, so if I'm not sleeping, I get them right away. And I love to respond to people. I love to talk to you guys. I love to hear from you. And as always, take care and have a good one.